Good evening. My name is Mary, and today I'll be sharing with you day number 16, which is Abraham's sacrifice. Soon God gave Abraham a command he did not mean to have obeyed, though he did not tell this to Abraham. He said, "Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love so greatly, and go to the land of Moriah. There on a mountain that I will show you, offer him for a burnt offering to me." Though this command filled Abraham's heart with pain, yet he was not as surprised to receive it as a father would be in our day, for such offerings were very common among all the people where Abraham lived. Abraham never for one moment doubted or disobeyed God's word. He knew that Isaac was the child whom God had promised, and God had promised that Isaac would have children, and those coming from Isaac should be a great nation. He did not see how God could keep his promise with regard to Isaac. If Isaac was killed as an offering, unless God raised him from the dead afterward. But Abraham undertook at once to obey God's command. He took 2 young men with him, and as an ass laden with wood for the fire. And he went toward the mountain in the north, Isaac walking by his side. For 2 days they walked, sleeping under the trees at night in the open country. On the 3rd day, Abraham saw the mountain far away as they drew near to the mountain. Abraham said to the young men, "Stay here with the ass, while I go up the mountain with Isaac to worship. When we have worshipped, we will come back to you." Abraham believed that in some way God would bring Isaac back to life. He took the wood from the ass, placed it on Isaac, and the two walked up the mountain together. As they were walking, Isaac said, "Father, here is the wood, but where is the lamb for the offering?" Abraham said, "My son, God will provide himself the lamb." And they came to the place on the top of the mountain. There Abraham built an altar of stones and earth and placed on it the wood. Then he tied the hands and feet of Isaac and laid him on the wood on the altar. Abraham lifted up his hand, holding a knife to kill his son. A moment longer, and Isaac would be killed by his own father. But just at that moment, the angel of the Lord called to Abraham and said, "Abraham, Abraham." And Abraham answered, "Here I am, Lord." Then the angel of the Lord said, "Do not lay your hand on your son. Do no harm to him. Now I know that you love God more than you love your only son, and that you are obedient to God, since you are ready to give up your only Son to God. What relief and joy these words from heaven brought to the heart of Abraham. How glad he was to know it was not God's will for him, to kill his son. Then Abraham looked around, and there in the thickest was a ram, caught by his horns. Abraham took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering place of his son. So Abraham's words came true. Then he said that God would provide a lamb. The place where this altar was built, Abraham named Jehovah Jireh, meaning in the language that Abraham spoke, the Lord will provide. This offering, which seems so strange, did much good. It showed Abraham and Isaac that Isaac belonged to God, for he had been offered to God. In Isaac, all his descendants had been given to God. Then it showed Abraham and all the people after him that God did not wish children or men killed as offerings for worship, while all the people around offered such sacrifices. The Israelites who came from Abraham and Isaac never offered them, but offered oxen and sheep and goats instead. And it looked onward to a time when, just as Abraham gave his son as an offering, God would give this son, Jesus Christ, to die for the sins of the world. All this was taught in this act of worship on Mount Moriah. And that was the word of the Lord. Now it is time for the discussion questions. The first one, what did God ask Abraham to do? And the second part of the first question, was Abraham ready to do it? Number 2, what did Abraham believe? Do you think that was hard? Number 3, what did God do to stop Abraham? Number 4, what did the sheep stand for? Thank you again for joining me, and we'll get together again soon for another chapter of the bedtime Bible stories. May God bless you all. Bye-bye for now. Take care.